Kingpyn tournament round 2 is almost here, and it's time for some predictions.
It's done it from time to time. Just have a bit
From the United Kingdom, the Nightmare.
Alright, so the Kingpyn tournament is just a few days away, and I feel like I haven't seen too much discussion about it. Obviously, there was the worry that the tournament had been canceled. A lot of people were talking about that in the YouTube boxing space, as it was revealed that Kingpyn had gone bankrupt and just scrapped the tournament entirely. And DAZN swooped in last minute and saved the day. The fights are on, the tournament will continue, but on DAZN. And it's probably a good thing that all of that went down, because that at least promoted this event more than anything else has. Before that, there wasn't that much talk of the tournament going down, and it was only about a week or two away. And then the whole bankruptcy thing went down. Everyone started talking about the tournament, and now the talk is kind of dying down again in these last few days. And hopefully a good amount of people tune into these fights, because I'm pretty excited to see these semifinals. I'm going to jump straight into these fights. First one we're talking about is a Nissan Gibb versus Jarvis. A great fight, a big fight. I'm really looking forward to this one. Gibb has the experience on his side, but Jarvis may be the more technical fighter, and that might be something Gibb struggles with in this fight. I do think Jarvis will have his moments as this fight goes on. I think he's going to land some clean shots on Gibb and will outbox him for a decent amount of this fight. But I do think the constant pressure of Gibb is going to wear down Jarvis. I don't think Jarvis has the power to get Gibb out of there, and as the fight goes on, I think the pressure of Gibb will start to get to Jarvis. He will start to land some big shots, and his experience will take over the fight, leading him to the victory. I do think Gibb is going to win this one. All of those shots Jarvis was eating from Tom Zanetti in that first Kingpyn fight, I don't think he can afford to do that with Gibb. I do think Gibb is going to land a lot, and it's going to build up, and there might be a finish here in one of the later rounds. Like I said, Jarvis may have some success early on outboxing Gibb. We know about Gibb's cardio. We know he can go all 5 rounds, but we're not so sure what Jarvis's cardio will look like. I don't think it's going to be on Gibb's level. I see Gibb winning this one, but probably later on in the fight, I'm gonna go with a 5th round stoppage for Gibb. Up next, we got Elle Brooke versus Julie Polka. I do think Elle Brooke's experience is going to take over this fight as well. She has had a few more fights than Julie has. She did struggle a bit in her last fight. It did not go as smooth as she thought it would, or even the fans thought it would, but she ultimately did get the victory. I think this fight is going all 5 rounds. It's going to the distance, and I just think Elle Brooke has the edge over Julie. I don't think either of them really have the power to finish this fight unless it's in the later rounds when they're both gassed, but I do see this one going the distance. I'm going with Elle Brooke by a decision. Next up for the women's tournament is Barbie versus Emily Brooke. This one, I don't think it's going to be close. I think Barbie is going to win this fight pretty easily. I think she's going to overwhelm Emily early. She is a much bigger fighter, a stronger fighter. She has a huge reach advantage, and I do see a stoppage for this fight. I think she's going to land some powerful shots early, and I think she's going to stop Emily Brooke in the 3rd round. I was very impressed with Barbie in her last fight. I do think she's going to win this entire women's tournament. And now for the main event, Whindersson Nunes versus King Kenny. Whindersson Nunes, the new superstar in YouTube boxing. This guy's popularity is insane. We haven't really seen him tested yet, so I can't really say how good he is just yet, but I feel like we know how good King Kenny is at this point. King Kenny, always been a great technical fighter. We saw him go through his transformation after his loss to Ashley Roxu, came back, got that dominant victory over my mate Nate. And a lot of people think he's a completely new fighter, a changed fighter from his old self, thinking he is much more aggressive now. And that might have been true for my mate Nate, but I don't know how well that's going to work against Whindersson Nunes. I do think Kenny might come out aggressive, but when he realizes he can't put Whindersson Nunes away early, he might revert back to his old self a bit, keeping this fight technical. I do think Whindersson's going to struggle with the jab and the reach of King Kenny, and I see this thing going the distance. I see Kenny coming out aggressive, not getting the job done early, but I do think he is going to outbox Whindersson for the majority of this fight. I see him sticking on his jab, landing some clean shots, and getting the decision win to move on to the finale of the Kingpyn tournament. Like I said, I think Whindersson is going to have some trouble with this jab and reach of Kenny. He's going to be confused at times. He may win 1 or 2 rounds, but I don't see him finishing King Kenny, and I definitely do not see him outboxing him as well. So these are my predictions for the Kingpyn tournament, and it kind of sucks that not all the fighters are returning for the undercard of this thing. I feel like that was kind of expected, but it still would have been cool. There were some pretty interesting matchups there, but it is what it is. I'm still excited to see this thing. I see Gibb and King Kenny fighting in the finale, but who knows? I was wrong about Jarvis's last fight against Thompson Eddy, so I guess we'll have to wait and see. What do you guys think? Who will win these semi-final matchups? Who will win the entire tournament? Subscribe for more boxing updates and content. The support is much appreciated. Thank you for watching. Peace.